Hey everyone, thanks for being here at USA Crypto Group for this AMS session. Today we have a project called Gentle Dogs Coin with us. They won the Eagles Den, so that's why they're back today to go more in depth on the project versus during the Eagles Den, just pretty much a summary of the project. So with that being said, I'd like to welcome Timothy from the team. Timothy, pleasure to have you here. If you can go ahead and start with the introduction, give us some insight into your background experience.
Okay, GM everyone. I'm Timothy. I'm the team lead for Gentle Dogs, so I'm the one representing our team. I've been involved in Web3 since 2020, but I actively came involved earlier this year. So I've been working as a project developer in the space, and that's my role as a team lead. I help organize everything that has to do with Gentle Dogs. So regarding our project, regarding our founders, you'll know more as we proceed. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, just let's go go into it. So the coin is called Gentle's Dog Coin. Now, looking at your website, it is a meme token. Would you say this is a meme token with a mission? And if there is a mission behind this, can you elaborate on what that mission is?
Okay, so I would like to give a more elaborate explanation of what our project is. So it's Gentle Dogs Coin Club. Now, the whole thing is called the club, while the coin that we want to launch is Gentle Dogs Coin. So I just want people to know the difference. Now, we have two founders. One of our founders, Steven, he loves to travel a lot. So while he was traveling, and he was going up and down, he noticed that the dogs weren't in the best state. He noticed in different places that animals weren't taken care of, and he wanted to act, but while he wanted to act, that's when COVID hit, so we couldn't do anything. Then he met our other co-founder, Raf. So they came together, and they also love cryptocurrency. They love Web3. Stephen has been involved in Web3 since 2016. I think Raf since 2017. So they decided, okay, what's the best way to save the animals and do it in a transparent way? Because we know what Web3 is about. It's about decentralization. It's about giving the power back to the people. So they decided to combine the two things they loved, Web3 and the animals. And that's the mission. That's the goal for Gentle Dogs Coin Club. So it's an ecosystem. And it's more than just a meme coin. There are many things that we want to implement, but one is the main part. There is the utility part. There is the payment part. There are many things as we go on in this AMA that would be discussed. So that is the origination of how Gentle Dogs Coin Club came to be.
Okay. So the Gentle Dogs Club. So there's a club. So meaning like pretty much there's a an ecosystem behind it. Now you launching a Gentle Dogs coin. Now you mentioned that there are utilities behind this the token, right? So it is a meme, but also it has utility. That's right. So your utility. Let's go into your utility. You mentioned payment. How do you foresee that as a payment?
In terms of the payment, we want to create a marketplace for the dogs. So people want to purchase dogs, like Web2 people want to purchase dogs. They want to purchase things for their dog, maybe brushes for their dog's fur, their dog's treats. So we want to create a marketplace where they would use our coin as a payment system to get these things from vendors. Then that's the way it's moving as payments. We will also want to do things as regards gamification, regarding NFTs, regarding staking, and the main thing itself, the charities. So we're trying to cut across everything that has to do with Web3. And I just answered the question as it relates to payment. So that's how we want to function in payments. We also do voting. Anything we want to do, it would take place via a decentralized autonomous organization. But yeah, that's how it relates to payments.
Okay. How do you see the marketplace? You mentioned the marketplace. Let's elaborate on that. Like how do you envision the marketplace look like?
Marketplace, you have obviously the vendors and the people. Now, for the vendors, they would be KYC. They would have to go through a KYC process because we care about our community so much. We're a community-focused project. So if it's not only for Web3 people, it's also for Web2 people. So get their produce, they want to get some things for their dogs, because the main thing is the dogs. That's our mission. It's a charity project. So if they want to get produce for their dogs, maybe food, treats for their dogs, they can use our token and get this easily accessible to them. That's the envisioning of the marketplace.
Okay, so you have vendors selling animals or dogs products, then you have consumer. It's almost like a marketplace, almost like a retail marketplace. Am I seeing that? Am I hearing that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's going to be tough because the question also is that the question also is that why would people uh, go into the Web3? I guess the question is what differentiate you guys, or what incentivize people to go into your website and buy, let's say, dog food or dog's treat or dog's toys versus like other Chinese big retailers out there, right? So I guess that's the
Mhm.
I, I guess that's a hardship that you guys have to
True.
figure it out. Do you have a plan as far as how are you gonna raise awareness to this marketplace and I guess entice the dog lovers to use your marketplace?
Now, the main thing is the Web2 people, because it's easier to onboard Web3 people. They already understand the space. So there has to be a lot of education. We have to tell them, okay, this is why. Because of, we've noticed that, okay, with charities, with things that has to do with maybe saving the animals, in the name of that, people actually steal money. They actually steal the things that they are meant to use for charity. So to onboard people to the marketplace, that's what we're being open, we're being transparent, we're being fair, that this is what we want to do and this is how we're going to do it. That's why as we go further, you see how each and every part of our project is leaning towards this. So how we're going to onboard people is we're going to be doing partnerships with animal shelters, so that it would raise awareness that, oh, these people are doing this. We're going to be using ambassadors in different countries. So we're targeting different regions of the world, because we're not looking at just one region. We're looking at different regions of the world, because the dogs are in different regions of the world. We're going to be forming partnerships so that it raises awareness that you can do this here, because we're a multifunctional project towards one purpose: the animals, specifically the dogs.
I see, I see. Okay, so I mean, it seems to me that you guys are very passionate about animals, specifically dogs. So I guess let me try to word it correctly here. So do you foresee that the external revenue will be coming from the marketplace? I guess so. Here's the thing with my, what I've seen in the space, what my experience in the space, right? So you have meme tokens, right? Literally just as memes, right? So with those meme tokens, they literally just put a lot of emphasis on memes, right? Being funny, right? So they create a culture. And you also have the utility tokens, right? And I've noticed that when a meme tokens like literally I guess trying to build utility behind it, it doesn't really have a strong support. I'm not sure why. Now, have you thought about that before? And the reason is because once a meme token actually have like an actual utility right in the beginning, instead of just being a meme or having a culture behind it. So what's happening is that you have a lot of community just waiting for that timeline, right? Okay, when this guy's gonna do this, when this guy's gonna do that, and the price actions and just everything just depended on that timeline specifically. I've noticed that in the space of memes. Have you thought about that? And what is your take on that?
For the question. Now, in terms of memes, yes, we've looked at it. In like, I would talk about it from this perspective. We are launching on BNB. We're using PinkSync. Now, I'm sure that from the recent discussions before we started, you're very familiar with the space. There is a few launch pads that came up, like Pump the Funny, the store. There was a recent one. I can't remember the name, for the Tron ecosystem. It just launched a few days ago. So there is a new influx of memes. So that's a very good question because many people just see it as a reason to ape. Now, the way we've designed it is the marketplace is not our only source of revenue. There would be in our fee structure, we've created a fee structure that would fund everything we want to do. So it's currently pegged at 0.9, in which 0.1 will go to the staking pool. We're still going to talk about the staking. 0.1 will be burnt, 0.1 will go to the liquidity pool, 0.3 will go to the animal shelters, and 0.3 will go to marketing and team. So that would not be the only thing that would fund it. I know your question is a two-part question in how are we going to project the project in terms of, okay, so that because of the culture and all that, I'm getting to that. And the second thing is, in terms of our generation of profits, that's one of the ways we're making money. So we're using that structure to make money. So we're not just dependent on one side. So, and that is how we want to do it, because it's not just, we don't want just one way that it will be generated. Now, in terms of the culture, we went in depth. We have 7 dogs and we gave them each a backstory. Now, we know that people are scared due to memes, and that is why the first and foremost thing is that we are transparent. If you check our tokenomics distribution, or I would go there, 80% of our tokens go to the community. There are airdrops there are staking rewards up to 12 months, up to 12% APY. So, and it is currently privately funded by our 2 founders. Now, we know that there is the thing about memes and about the space and about, okay, pumps and dumps, and we've created certain structures so that there would not be any price shaking, that it wouldn't affect the price all of a sudden, that the charts would be going anyhow. We have the liquidity lock. There are certain structures that we've put in place to ensure that the price is stable and it wouldn't just be a pump and a dump token. So those are the things that we've planned, because we know that, okay, there is the volatility that has to do with memes, and most people will be looking at, will these people fulfill the things they want to do? And we've looked at those things in mind, and we place certain structures, like there will be an anti-whale mechanism. So there would be transaction limits for large holders so that they would dump on the big holders. In terms of the team, because out of the tokenomic distribution, 8% goes to marketing and team, there would be vesting. So our tokens wouldn't even be released. So there will be vestings, and there are no private buyers. So we're putting all this into play to ensure that there won't be any abrupt shake in the price. Same thing with our tax. If we want to increase the tax, or we see a need to increase the tax, we would do a vote. So we've looked at all these things and know that, okay, we know that these are the cons of starting with a meme, but we've put in certain structures to ensure that we can build the thing that we want to build.
And you guys are going through a pre-sale right now, or is that coming up, right?
In terms of our pre-sale, we intended for it to go towards the end of August or September, but it's a really large project and we do not want to rush anything. So right now, the way things are going, it will be probably middle of September. We are passing everything on to the community, but that's as soon as because the contract has been developed, we're trying to add a few things here and there because it's a really huge project and we don't want to rush anything. We're taking our time, but sometime, as it's in our roadmap, quarter 3/quarter 4, so towards the end of quarter 4. So in the middle of September, we should start a pre-sale. We've already we're going to get an audit from a reputable audit company, and today our 2 founders they started the KYC process.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, like, this coin here reminds me of like around a couple of years back, right? You have the staking and you have taxes, the ecosystems depending on taxes, etc. Yeah, definitely. I think you guys have to. I mean, I think it'll be challenging. The reason is now I don't know the details what you guys have as far as the business plan go. Um, because during right now the meme space right now, right, as you can see, you're either a meme or a utility token, and you guys trying to combine both. And I think, with the taxes already now, I definitely understand what you're saying in regards to the tokenomic, where you have a structure and it pays out people, etc., reflections and burning mechanism, etc. But it's also everything is dependent on the taxes. Now, regarding the marketplace, that's going to take a lot of money to build out, and also a lot of marketing money to have people to utilize the ecosystem. I think there'll be challenges for sure. All right. I mean, but with every business, there's going to be a lot of challenges. 100%. So yeah, I think the system. I think what you guys have going on. I mean, it's evident that you guys are very passionate about dogs. But I think there'll be hardships in the way, brother.
We expect challenge. We don't expect this to be easy because, like you said, it's not something that's very easy to build. We're trying to really build an entire ecosystem from the gaming to the NFTs to the marketplace to the voting. So it's quite a lot of things to combine, but it's a challenge that we decided to take, and it's a challenge that we are dedicated to taking. So it's not going to be so easy, and it's not entirely dependent on our tax because in our taxes, it's we wouldn't, like I said, we wouldn't increase or reduce it without a general community census. So the community knows that it's always between 0.3 to 3%. If we want to increase or reduce, it will take place via voting. So we wouldn't just increase the taxes any day. There is a structure put in place. And we also have our team tokens that would be used to fund it, plus our um, our founders are currently still funding it. So all of this with the plans and everything, we know it's a bit difficult. We know it's a lot to comprehend because we have to develop the game. There's also the staking. It's quite a lot of things to combine, and we wouldn't say that we can do it easily. We wouldn't because we're humans too. It's not something that can be easily done. We will be vulnerable and we'll be honest with you. That is one of our core values. It's not an easy task to do at all. We have a long way to go. We're in the middle of August, 20th of August, so it's quite a long way to go. But we're determined and we're ready to take on these tasks because right now the core team based in Vienna, they are all they all either have companies or work with companies, so they don't even need the money because they are all comfortable people. But they looked at it that okay, they saw a problem that Stephen proposed, and they decided to solve this problem. It was a problem that we knew that it needs to be solved, and we decided to take on the challenge. So yeah.
Have you guys started doing anything already in regards to, I guess, the compassion for dogs, or is that 100% dependent on how much money you're gonna raise for the during the pre-sale?
We've already started partnerships, though once we wouldn't any partnership that has been would I say verified, we would publish it on our social media platforms. We already started partnerships with different parts of the globe in USA, Europe, with animal shelters. So we've started from there because that's our main thing. Then we want to launch um, a new website soon. That's just a sneak peek. So for the club ecosystem, so it's the pre-sale is very important, and yes, it is important to fund the main things. But yeah, we started some partnerships with, and once it's verified, we're publishing.
Yeah. I think the community would be paying attention to that, right? Because as you know, Timothy, right, meme tokens, right, usually only works with a strong narrative out there, right? For example, we just did an AMA with Nero yesterday, which is the sister of Doge, right, which passed away, and Nero's here to continue on the legacy. And you have other narrative like the politics narrative, and Trump and Kamala Harris, and you have other narrative out there, right? And it's usually they have literally no utility, just a narrative itself, and they're just trying to build a culture around that, right? Um, yeah, so there's going to be a lot of work, but also at the same time, I think you guys also recognize that. Again, I don't know you guys' business plan in detail, but as you know, Timothy, you've been here for the space for a long time. The staking and all that, I feel like it's also going in a way, right? We don't see it in tokens with taxes, and I think you're the first token that actually doing the same thing. It was like around two years ago. Now, have you done the market, analysis and kind of have an idea of what's going on? And is there a reason why you're doing this? You're doing, your tokenomics right now is this like around 2 years ago with every project have the same type of, I guess, tokenomics. Have you looked into that? And is there a reason why you bringing this back?
In terms of the meme space, like we said, we're not just a meme point. So we want to develop a culture. That's why the dogs have stories. There'll be NFTs behind them. And for one thing, if you look at the meme space, one of the cultures that really push around, like Pepe, dogs, dogs token, cats token, politics token. So those really push out, and we're using a dog, so it's really going to help us in terms of the culture we'll build around that. Now, we're not just an ordinary token. That's why even our supply is 1,749,000,000. It's an odd number because we are not just we emphasize that we will create a culture, but we're not just that. We have a mission, and that's why I'll try to term it as a charity project, though there is a meme backing behind it. Now, why we're trying to bring this back is we're community centered, because if you check the breakdown of that, most of it is staking, burning. So, and we know what happens when we burn. The value of GDC would rise to the liquidity pool, to the animal welfare, the core of it, 0.3 to the animals and 0.2 to the marketing and the team. So the structure, the taxes were put in place for the core function of what we want to do. So that is why it was brought in place. That's why we try to emphasize that, because people there's a lot of noise in the space. There is a lot of noise, and people are looking after the axes. And we're not against investors coming into our project. They would come, but we want to balance it out, because we have a target. If investors want to invest and they want to get some money, that's why we created staking, we created gaming. You can invest into the project. You can also get some yield returns, but it wouldn't affect our mission, because we know that we have to balance those two things out.
Appreciate you answering all the tough questions there, and I can definitely sense the passion in your voice, creating this, I guess, ecosystem. So just to recap, all right, guys. I mean, you guys heard it. So the team is launching a charity token, right? So it's a meme, but with a mission in a way. Staking, the tokenomics is also structured to have burning mechanic that reduces supply eventually. And is there reflection on your tokenomic as well?
Catch the last question. Sorry, could you repeat?
Reflections, like let's say if I hold your token, is there a percent of the tokenomics of the taxes that goes back to me based on how much I hold? How can investors earn money?
Okay. In terms of investors, they can always earn money through staking, aside holding the token, because if you hold the token, it will increase in value due to the different mechanisms. There is also our buyback, or our profit distribution, rather, that would be broken down. We share 25% of our profits, and 5% will go to the charity pool, 5% to the liquidity pool, 5% will be burned, and 10% will be to the staking pool. So just by holding GDC, even if you don't stake, you don't play the games, if you hold the GDC, you would still see some percentage in the liquidity pool. Some will be burnt, and some would enter. It would spread around in our ecosystem just by holding GDC. Not even if you decide not to stake, if you decide not to play the games, you would still have, because we're trying to we looked at every single part of it. Okay, the gamers have a reward, the holders have a reward, those people that like to hold long, the stakers have a reward. So we considered every single part that, yes, just by holding the token, you would have a reward.
Okay, and those all dependent on taxes. And what are those taxes in and out? How many percent?
Now, yeah. So the tax is currently pegged at 0.9. It is we give it a range of 0.3 to 3%. Now, we wouldn't increase it without a community vote. If we see the need to increase or reduce, it could also be reduced. It would be done via the voting. So we wouldn't just do it. That's why we're doing that. And I know a question can pop up that how would the voting take place? Now, we would give a pegged minimum that, okay, you must have these X amount of tokens. Now, it wouldn't be something big so that the whales will be in charge. It will be something that even the fishes can afford. So it will be balanced. And it is not based on the bag you have, how big the bag you have. Even if maybe you, Seattle, you have maybe $10,000 worth of tokens and I have $100 worth of tokens. Both our votes are one vote each. So if you vote, you get one vote. If I vote, I get one vote. So we both have equal say because we're both holders of GDC. So how the tax is now broken down in the 0.9, 0.1 will go to the staking pool. 0.1 will be burnt. 0.1 will go to the liquidity pool. 0.3 to the animal welfare, and 0.2 to the marketing and the team. So I hope that is clear.
So when you say 0.9, so it's okay. So it's not even 1%. So let's say if I was to spend $100 buying coin token, $1 is only getting taxed, correct? Or is that 9%?
Yeah, 0.9%. 0.9%. 1% is $1, so 0.9% would be $0.9. That's about 90 cents. So that's what it's pegged at. If it wants to be increased or
it's not even a 1%. So it's not even a 1% tax.
Exactly. So if we want to increase it or reduce it, the community will be the one to decide. But right now it's pegged at 0.9. Any other fluctuation, and the range is between 0.3 to 3. If it wants to be reduced or increased, the community would take a vote.
Wow. Okay. So it's not even a 1% tax, and you have that going to staking. You have that going to the LP. You have that going to marketing. That's a lot of places that's going to there, considering it's not even a 1% tax. Have you worked out that? I mean, because now this is all done automatically, correct? Or is that do you have different wallet that this is actually automatically taxed into?
We
Because
have different wallets and will be publicly open, so they can see the wallets. There are public wallets that it will be open to.
Okay. Your contract has it been written already? The contract for the project?
Yeah, it has been written, but it's currently being tested and we're adding a few things. That's why we've not started the pre-sale. It has been written, we're adding a few tweaks here and there. Then we want to do our auditing quickly. That's the main delay because of the many things we want to add. That's why the pre-sale may take a bit of time. So if it's as quickly as we want, maybe as early September, if not, maybe middle of September. So that's the core thing because we started the KYC process. Once the tweaks in the contract here and there is done, the auditing firm will take over and we start our
Okay. Yeah, so if I mean, I'm glad that you guys have that the option to raise the taxes, etc. But I think 0.09. So one thing I would suggest is that have an audit because what is happening is that when you only tax that, not even less of a percent, not even 1%, and you have all these wallet that's dedicated into. So what's end up happening is that you guys may be paying for more on the gas, just instead of the fees itself. So that's one thing that I'll be mindful of. Because you have so many different wallets that's been allocated to, and every transaction when it does that, you need to pay a fee on that. Because right now, let's say if I spend $100, you only tax people $1, and you have $1 that's spread out to 4 different wallets. That's a lot of gas there. So that's one thing I'll be mindful of us when you guys get an audit.
we're considering all that. So there'll be tweaks here and there. The distribution would just go straight. That's why we're really testing the contract because we want it to play effectively. So yeah, we looked into that. Thank you.
Yeah, sounds good, brother. Yeah, I mean, very. I can sense that you're very passionate about, this charity token, about dogs or animals in general. Yeah, I mean, you guys won the Eagles Den, so that tells me that you have a very strong community over there as well, already. Now, what is your plan on marketing? I know that you just did our Eagles Den. Here you're doing AMA. Is this something that you continue to do going forward?
Of our marketing, right now we want to reach different regions of the world. Right now, our main focus is USA and Europe. Though we plan on reaching everywhere, we want to reach Asia, we want to reach Africa, we want to reach every single part of the globe. But you can't just start all at once. It's little by little. Everything is in progress because you don't rush the steps. We take it little by little. We know that it's a huge thing, but we're ready to stay. That's why we're doing all these processes, the KYC, so that we tell you that we are as transparent can be. Both our founders are known. So yeah. Then in terms of the marketing, we also want to do partnerships with established proper animal shelters, proper animal welfare organizations, both Web2 and Web3 related. So we're gaining more and more visibility. We want to have ambassadors in different regions of the world so that, okay, we have people speaking about gentle dogs in Africa, people speaking about gentle dogs in Europe, in North America, in South America, and everywhere. So that's the plan in the long run. Right now, we have shillers that try to get the word slowly, but we're pushing it slowly. We're trying to build our base. Our total social media platform is about 2,000 plus. So we're trying to build it little by little. Then we'll go more intensive as the pre-sale starts because that's when more buyers come in, more interested people come in. But we've been getting positive feedback. We've done about 3 or 4 AMAs. I think it's the 5th or 4th. I can't remember. So we're trying to just reach out, tell people more that, okay, both Web2 and Web3 related, that we're here.
Yeah, I mean, with your marketplace, that's a very ambitious goal right there. But I tell you what, though, if you guys succeed with your marketplace, I think that's gonna where the real value of your project is, right? So now you have the revenue coming from the Web2 that can also reward your investor, also fund whatever your operations in general, right? Because if your marketplace is not successful, and I think everything is relied on the taxes itself, and from my past experience, now I'm pretty sure you're aware of that too. It's very hard to sustain, right? When you don't have an external revenue that coming in, especially a utility token where everything's dependent on taxes. You know that, I know that, everybody knows that. So yeah, I'll be watching your marketplace for sure, and I hope that you succeed.
Yeah, we know it's not an easy thing. That's why we're trying to take our time to properly execute it. We're trying to, because we know it's not just about, okay, raising awareness. It's not about doing many promotions because it's just about getting the right people in, the right people who are interested. Because you could do promotions with different. I used to tell people this because I'm a project developer. I tell people that I rather work with maybe a Twitter influencer that has 5,000 followers and has my target market than a Twitter follower with 100,000 followers and doesn't have my target market. Because if I have someone that has 5,000 people and maybe like 5,000 of them can come into Gentle Dogs than someone that has 100,000 and maybe most of them are interested in DGen. So we're trying to be smart. We're trying to look after that. Okay, we're trying to combine many things, and we know that it's not an easy task because we know that even though we want to give back, we need to have a source of revenue, and that's where the marketplace comes in. That's where the tax structure comes in. So that's why our marketing is very crucial. We're trying to do this steadily, build it steadily, and yeah, we will try and achieve everything we want to. Thank you.
Sounds good, Timothy. like I mentioned before, I can definitely see the compassion and that that drive in you, man. I can sense that in your voice for sure, and I love that. And I appreciate you answering all the tough questions. And all AMAs would like to ask tough questions, and I think you did a heck of a job, articulating yourself and your vision here. So I look forward to see your success in the future here.
Yeah, thank you, Mike.
Awesome, brother. So with that being said, guys, let me see here. Let me go look at the questions here and see if we have any questions inside the room here. Are you ready to take some questions, Timothy?
Anything for our community.
All right, let me go in here and see here. Let me see here. 61 messages. So if you want here, Timothy, you can also go into the banner there, and under the comment section, there's a bunch of questions here. Usually during the AMA, all these questions also get answered already, but I'm gonna try to find a few here. Okay, so actually, this is actually a good questions that I think come from Pizza Hit here, and I think we kind of touch on that again. But let's just kind of recap this a bit here. It says, aside from the transaction fees, which are the taxes, right? Does the project have any other revenue streams? How does the project plan to sustain its operations and charitable contributions in the long run? Influencer, media, and etc.
So, yeah, aside from the fee structure, that's where the marketplace comes in. That's where partnerships also come in with the animal shelters, because that's why we're looking for the right partnerships, because we're trying to partner with people, and all these different sources of funds can just would come in together for the goal, which is to fund the project and as we go. So those are the different streams of revenues that we're trying to generate.
Okay, yeah. So kind of Timothy touched on that there. So I think the ecosystem is heavily dependent on the marketplace there. So I think that's going to be a very crucial part there. All right, on the next one here, I think we also touch on this as far as marketing go, but let's also recap this. What is the long-term growth strategy for GDCOIN, and how do you plan to attract new investors to the project?
Term growth is to create an entire ecosystem that is self-sufficient, that funds itself, because we plan to give this to the community. We plan to make it that the revenues is growing on its own. And one thing about decentralization is it's for the people. So once we've done it to a very good degree that it funds itself, the ecosystem can exist without us. We drop it to the community. So that's the long-term goal. And as far as marketing goes, the partnerships and every other thing that we've have tried to illustrate would be key in that.
All right, thanks for that. The next question I think it asked about the roadmap. So let's elaborate on that. We touch on the staking pool. We touch on the marketplace. You also mentioned that you want that to be used as a transaction, like a payment system as well. And we also talk about gaming. What is the priority? Let's talk about the roadmap. What is the immediate plan, like right after the pre-sale? Would there be anything done before the pre-sale? And what about after the pre-sale? Let's dive into the roadmap. What are your priorities?
So I don't want to give too much away because it will ruin many of the surprises. Because we have a few surprises coming on, and that's why we put the roadmap there in the website. So I don't want to ruin a lot of the surprises, because we plan to do airdrops before and after the pre-sale, and that's one of the things that we don't want to give too much away. There will be our merch that would also be in display. So there are many things that we want to do, and I know our community is really fascinated. Okay, after the pre-sale, after the launch, what's next? Which of these parts are you going to touch first? wait and see because we don't want to give everything away. And once we do it, the community is the first to know. We announce everything on all our social media, all our AMAs are on our Telegram, they're on our Twitter. So I don't want to give too much away, but that's all I can say for now.
All right, sounds good. All right, make sure you guys follow the team. Looks like they'll keep you guys up to date as far as what's gonna happen next there. So join the TG, X, etc. All right, let's go on to the next one here. Let's see here. Okay, so I think this is self-explanatory, but also let's maybe touch on it maybe for the people that don't know what the DAO is. So the question is, how does the community voting system work? What role does the liquidity pool play? I don't know what that means, but let's talk about the DAO. How does the governance work? Because you say that the community has a lot of saying of what's going on. Let's elaborate on that.
In terms of that, for someone who doesn't know, a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. That's what it stands for. So decentralized, autonomous. What does autonomous mean? It works on its own. It doesn't require a manual input. So that's what we're trying to be. And in terms of the voting, how it would work would be as long as you're a holder of GDC. Now, what we noticed is, at least in terms of other projects, as far as they're concerned, the whales have a bigger say in the project because they'll be worried about their buy. So we're gonna do it like, okay, if you have X amount of tokens, maybe you have at least $50 worth of tokens. So that is a very good range for a fish. That's within their range. So if you have this amount of tokens, because it would be very, very affordable, the minimum price. Your vote would be one. So if someone has like $10,000 worth of GDC and I have $50, both of our votes are one vote a piece. So nobody has a higher vote just because I have a higher bag, that kind of thing. So once you vote, maybe we want to increase the tax, or we want to decrease the tax, or we want to like in terms of the animal shelters, we want to give to the animal shelters. And once we've done all the pre-sale and I want to do it monthly, would be given to the animal shelters. So how we want to get, let's say we've verified all our animal shelters and we want to choose which one we want to choose. It's the community that chooses. We're not the one that will choose. We just make sure that all the animal shelters we want to give to would be verified. So they decide to choose. And if it's like a big organization and they're afraid, our founders would go and meet the animal shelters in person. If it's a smaller shelter, would make sure that they have KYC verified, as I've initially stated. But if they're a very big one, or maybe because the size of the animal shelter, we have to give something as big as $1 million, $2 million, and people are afraid of the funds, our founders will go there personally to ensure that everything is on track. So that's how their vote has a say in all of the things we want to do, because we're a community-centered project.
Right, thanks for that. Okay, I'm going to take the last question here. This is regarding about staking here. The question is, it says, how do you plan to ensure that the staking rewards pool remains attractive long-term for holders without compromising the overall supply of the coin?
Beautiful question that one is, and that's why we have our buyback system with our I said initially that 25% of our profits will be shared. So since there is going to be a breakdown, it's not staking wouldn't be affected because there is the gaming side that would be distributed. There is a charity side, there is the liquidity side, there is the part that will be burnt. So the distribution would even everything out. Everything out will be even. So the staking wouldn't affect all other parts of our ecosystem because it's a lot, but that's why we considered the numbers, because those numbers are very important. So it wouldn't affect how the other parts of the system would work.
Yeah, so just to elaborate on that, so they do have a percent that's dedicated for the staking itself, right? Of the total supply, but on top of that, there's a percent of the taxes that's going to the staking as well. So that's how I guess they're going to continue to fund the staking is through the taxes, and that would be voted on as far as the percent goes. That will be voted on based on the DAO or the governance system there from the community. Sounds good, Timothy. Appreciate you answer all the questions there, brother. Um, yeah, man. Like I said, I think I always like charity tokens, right? And and Vitalik also wrote that even though you launched this on a BNB chain, but he wrote the Vitalik a couple of years back. He wrote an article about meme tokens. Pretty much to sum it up, he says, I think memes should exist, right? I think there's space for memes, and which we see right now, but with some charity work, right? With some has to have some value to it, and that's what you guys are doing. And so I think I always love charity token because you're helping other people out. So that's great. So it's a great mission.
Thank you. Thank you, Seattle. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, we know we're for the culture. The meme tokens are they're really funny things in space, like Doge, with the way Elon talks about Doge, with the way Pepe goes. So meme tokens are like a really relaxing way to enter into the space. But there's one thing that I know for sure, even outside of Web2, you must offer value, and that's what we're trying to do. There must be some sort of value. That why should people invest in a project? Why should they be interested in it? Okay, there is the culture, there is this. Okay, we've seen successful memes go out, but we've seen memes come to 10 million today, zero tomorrow. So why should we be investing in your project? What makes your project different? And that's why we try to do all this. So thank you for the beautiful AMA. It's just really wonderful. One thing I love for sure is the questions were, I won't lie to you, they were quite tough, but it means that people really digged deep into our project. They looked at our project. They say, okay, what are the possible questions? What are the in quotes the faults? So it's really touched me that okay, people can dig this deep to ask critical questions that are crucial because they're looking at it that okay, it looks good. What about this? What about that? And I'm really grateful to every single question that was answered. If your question was not answered, you can always come to our Telegram group. You can also message me on Twitter, but I'll prefer Telegram because I'm active there. You message on Telegram, our meditation is answer. I'm also active on the Telegram. I'll just do a few shout outs. Dogs56, Glassjaw, RXT, Lilypad, Chase Turner, just a few shout outs here and there. Thank you to every single question. Thank you for this beautiful AMA. Thank you for Eagles then too, because I really see why this is worth it. It's I love this community. I love the questions. Thank you, Seattle. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, the USA Crypto Group. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And don't forget GDC.
Thank you, Timothy. I definitely can sense the fire in your, through your voice there. You definitely have the passion, for the project. And it seems to me that you have been putting a lot of work for it, and I appreciate you recognizing the tough questions and you're able to, articulate yourself through it, but also reassure the community on your overall mission, right? And so I think that's important, and that's what I love about our community as well. We ask tough questions, and I think you have to prepare to answer those questions, and that's what AMA is supposed to be. So I appreciate that a lot. So with that being said, Timothy, if you can go down, brother, and pick one winner, we're gonna go award one listener. Just for fun for a listener. And after this, guys, I'm gonna also post their TG, the social media handles, and make sure you join the TG. Give a feedback, right? Do not spam. And Mike or Johnny or somebody's gonna go there and pick a winner as well.
Okay. I'll
Thank
go
you for
for
them.
Manat. Let me quickly check the username. So that's Manat 2022. MANNAT 2022.
If
I'll
you can
paste the
go ahead and
person's
grab that username and
username in
DM
your.
me.
Yeah. I've sent it. I've sent it so that
Perfect.
nobody can duplicate. So I've sent it to your DM.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, with that being said, my man Mike is still here. Mike has been very busy. I think he has like 7 wives or something like that. He's trying to, make sure that everyone has the right time. I don't think he can hear me right now. That was a joke. He was actually in the middle of remodeling something.
I heard you, brother.
There you go, my man, Mike. All right, Mike, you were gonna pick the number. So after this guy, we also gonna just for fun. We have like 100 listener. I don't know how many we have. I don't know what it is, but let's do 1 to 200. 5 guesses only. Just random number in the room, okay? And go there, join the TG. We'll pick one winner as well. Mike's gonna pick a number, and he usually picks 69, but make sure this is not gonna be the number this time though. So All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you too.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Timothy. All right, Mike. Chat to you later, brother.
Okay, guys, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.